See, make sure we're live. All right. Today we got a video from JP Sears about flock cameras.
What is the biggest thing that Americans are pissed off about right now? Flock surveillance cameras. People all around the country are cutting these things down, and I love it.
This could be a sign of the growing public unease with this type of video surveillance. In two different parts of Houston, the same scene, surveillance cameras lying on the ground.
Laying on the ground, that's the best spot for a surveillance camera. You will be shocked to see how many of these flock surveillance cameras are already in our country. We have a growing public backlash against them. And the CEO of the company is telling us people that are against these, they're domestic terrorists. Welcome back to the JP Rex channel, my freedom-loving friend.
Yeah, so this son of a bitch who owns these stupid flock cameras, he wants to call us terrorists. Meanwhile, I feel like he's kind of a terrorist. Like, he's the one spying on us. I mean, give me a break, man.
Friend, this is where we help spread the light of truth and freedom because truth conquers. Now, here's the truth of it. Surveillance cameras surveil. And if you have surveillance cameras aimed at the masses at all times, you have mass surveillance. Now, the company's putting these in, and the government's doing it, the federal government and local governments. They tell us, nope. That's not what they're for. They are for your protection. Well, there's an alternative reality to that we're going to take a look at here. Now, here's the heartwarming news. Every time I go online, I'm seeing new clips, news reports. More and more of these stupid cameras are being cut down. That's a crime. Don't do it. But I love it. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm telling you I love it.
I like it.
And there's been enough public backlash in certain towns that the towns have pressured, like the city councils and the mayors. Take the cameras out.
I'm not saying go do that.
I love it. We can make a difference. And
I'm not saying go do it, but I'm just saying if you do it, I'm okay with that. Like, I don't care. I don't care about their stupid fucking cameras. What's this? A stupid ad. I think their cameras suck. They claim that they're license plate readers, but in reality, they're like actually recording like your biometrics in your face. Even people who walk by them, like they're looking at all of this, you know, even me, like all my tattoos, all that. It's recording all of that stuff. And all these large data centers, by the way, what do you think they're for? They're not for Chat GPT or whatever the fuck they're for the fucking flock cameras. I mean, obviously chat, you know, the AI stuff, it probably are for them somewhat, but in reality, I mean, all these flock cameras are sending all the information to these data centers. That's what it's doing. Yeah, I mean, license plate reader my ass. Give me a break. Let's get back into it.
And I truly believe this mass video surveillance that's framed as, well, this is for your protection, help us catch criminals. You'll see actually objectively how that's a load of crap. This is one of the most important issues that we should be focusing on right now. The best way to cure mass surveillance is before it's completely rooted in. Once it's completely rooted in, guess what? We might be screwed and out of luck. Because guess what? To do anything about it, the mass surveillance is going to be reporting you. Why can't I access my bank account? Because we saw you doing something about the mass surveillance.
Yeah,
but you weren't calling it mass surveillance, it's mass surveillance. So we see news clips like this coming up left and right.
Authorities say since July 8th, flock safety cameras in the city of Ashland and Ashland County have been the targets of vandals.
Targets of vandals or targets of patriots? Ask yourself that question. Oh, look at this commentary. The truck drivers are now taking down flock cameras in an Ohio town by ramming directly into the poles, and people are starting to do the same. The destruction has reportedly triggered a chain reaction with other drivers following suit, leaving law enforcement scrambling. Fair enough. The artist known as Jess comments, in a world of bad news, this lifts my spirits. Well done, America. I agree with that.
They just put it in
report from Houston. This is happening
all over the place. And
now we'll hear from the Orwellian CEO of this Orwellian flock surveillance company in a second.
Keep doing it.
But first, some more good news, ladies and gentlemen. Here's another post. We must demand that every single flock safety camera is taken down. This is a beautiful look, ladies and gentlemen.
By the way, just how Orwellian is the name of this?
Flock safety.
It's like every time they take one down
in our name, do you think the dumb idiots will just believe it's for their safety? Yeah, okay. Another beautiful scene.
There we go.
Must have been a crazy windstorm last night. A real shame to see another camera down.
Such a shame.
It is such a shame. This is also a heartwarming. Police in North Carolina asked the public to identify 2 men who recently cut down a brand new flock camera.
Okay, all right.
Reports claim callers.
Look, there we go. This is how I know that they're not for public safety and they're not for catching criminals. If they were for catching criminals, then why is it the cameras that are supposed to catch the criminals can't catch the fucking criminals? They're not for catching criminals. They're for gathering data on me and you and everyone else. And then these stupid whatever data centers or whatever they're building, they just store all of it. They know everything about you. They know where you go, they know where you shop. In fact, I just looked on what was a dflock.org or whatever. It's basically a website. It shows you where flock cameras are around your area. If you ever see a speed limit, like one of those digital speed limit signs with the little they're like digital, and then they have the solar panels on top in your area. That's not a speed limit sign. That's a fucking flock camera. And the flock cameras are hidden. And so it's not really, I mean, it technically is a speed limit sign because it does show your speed limit, but the cops, they don't care about that. They're just tracking you with a camera. That's what it is.
Are trolling police by flooding the phone lines with tips like Batman and Robin and Lone Ranger and Tano. So in other words, the public is not helping catch these quote-unquote criminals or patriots. Choose your own adventure. The public is protecting them because what's happening, taking on the cameras, that's for the public. By the way, this is how surveilled the country has gotten. I'll show you a map in a second, right after we hear from the Orwellian CEO. But these are people who cut down surveillance cameras, and they were caught on surveillance camera doing surveillance camera acts. So it's like they'll probably start putting surveillance cameras in to monitor their surveillance cameras to better catch the criminals / probably patriots. Now, here's the Orwellian CEO of the company Flock Safety. You'll hear him talk. You're not going to hear honesty out of him. And after you hear this clip from him, I'll show you the community note. He just got owned and nuked in that.
Organizations like the ACLU and the EFF who take an above-board approach to fight for their point of view. And thankfully, we live in a beautifully democratic, capitalistic country where we can fight in court. And I have a lot of...
Okay, first of all, we don't live in a freaking capitalistic country. We live in a corporate oligarch. Corporations have control. We haven't been capitalist since, like, I don't know, 1890 or something. There's nothing capitalistic about... And yes, when we were capitalistic, yes, it did work. It was great, right? People made money. But we haven't been capitalistic for over 100 years, so give me a break. And democracy, fuck democracy, dude. We're a republic. We're supposed to be a constitutional republic, okay?
Respect for those groups because they have reasonable debates and we follow the law.
Sounds reasonable so far.
And then unfortunately there's terroristic organizations like DFLOC.
DFLOC, I'll show you the website. DFLOC.org shows you where the cameras are at. So in a sense,
there's two right down the street from my house, by the way.
To reveal it, to show you where the cameras are at. And he calls them a terrorist organization. Got it.
Primary motivation is chaos.
Chaos.
Terrorists usually...
We care about privacy. They care about chaos. Okay.
The Antifa than they
I haven't
are
heard
anything
of
else.
They're like Antifa. Okay.
And that, I think, is unfortunate because we don't want chaos, or I don't want chaos.
No, we don't want chaos, do we?
No, I think he does want chaos,
we don't want privacy.
I like law and order. I like
I
a society
think this
that has a
little
bedrock
cup right
of safety.
here.
We like law and order.
I think he does want chaos.
Really heavy on the order. How much order do we like? Well, we like a nice surveillance state. And the reason, because that brings a lot of order so that we can have like a beautiful dream-like authoritarian experience. Yeah. That's how much order here at Flock Safety we like.
Yeah,
so for those groups, I think it's just disappointing that they haven't chosen a more constructive mannerism to try to get
over the
what they
masses.
Want, which they have a right to have.
Control.
But that's why we have a democratically elected process, right? Like we're not forcing Flock on anyone.
They're not.
Yes, you are. That's 100% all they are.
Dude, what do you mean you're not for? You're literally putting them up without asking us if we want them. Of course you're forcing it on us, you fucking idiot. What?
Doing. If you have been under a Flock Safety camera, did you consent to that?
I personally, when I drive by these cameras, I flip them off.
Elected officials know that as a community, you want to be safe.
Yes, you want to be safe, don't you? You don't want to be one of those idiots that's not monitored all the time because you're not going to be safe.
I do want safety.
Here's a
That's
community
why
note. DFLOC is an open source project mapping license plate readers to highlight privacy risks from surveillance technology, not a terrorist organization. Well played on the community note. And here's a report: residents in Boulder, Colorado, of all places, very liberal, but apparently still American enough. They care about their privacy.
It's actually really pretty.
They are suing their local police department over Flock camera surveillance. Let's take a look.
That's true. Police
a first-of-its-kind lawsuit in Colorado accusing the Boulder Police Department of illegal mass surveillance through.
If you didn't know, those cameras, they have, they have body cam right here, and then they have another, quote, body cam on their car. But those license plate reader cameras that they have are identical to Flock cameras. And so... police officers, they've already been using Flock cameras for a long time. They're on their cars. Not all police stations have them. It's usually like state patrol or like a sheriff's deputy or even a sheriff who has them. But the police officers, they've been using Flock cameras like for years, and they've just been mounted on their cars. And they say, oh, it's just to read your license plate to make sure that you're not... Well, don't you have to fucking pull me over first and I have to be doing something illegal for you to read my license plate? Well, that's what it used to be like, but then they, make these new state laws that get around the Constitution to make it to where they can just do whatever the hell they want. So, yeah. And by the way, yes, police officers, they do use the data from Flock cameras to supposedly find people or something. I don't know.
Through those Flock cameras. Now, the controversy surrounding those Flock cameras has been growing in Colorado.
Yeah, it's been growing everywhere. So you can see the last 2 years. Watch how the screen gets colored in. We'll get back to the video in a second, but first, your bone marrow stops making stem cells efficiently after the age of 40. But this powder helps switch that back on.
Well,
cocoa signals to your bone marrow to produce repair cells that support your muscles, blood vessels, and overall recovery. This is Black Forest cocoa, made in the USA and concentrated for high flavanol content. Take a look at this clip
that
of a
money,
well-known podcaster who flies to Colombia for stem cell injections.
Hey, maybe someday I'll get money like
and
that.
the UFC gave me a doctor in Los Angeles, and he looks at my MRI and goes, "You're gonna need surgery." I go, 100%. He goes, "I don't know how you're using it now. It's a matter of time. You're gonna need surgery, so it might be better to do it now." So I got a shot with stem cells. And this is the early days of stem cells in America, where you could get away with more. And you gotta go to Mexico now again. Tijuana, the Cellular Performance Institute, they fucking dose you. 6 months later, I go and get an MRI. The rotator cuff tear is gone. And Dr. McGee looks at me and goes, "You know how fucking insane this is?"
This activates the
like
same
5
stem
speed or something.
cells,
It's crazy.
except you don't need to travel overseas or pay a $50,000 tab. A Harvard study on 21,000 people found that taking this daily can cut heart attacks by 27%. Cocoflavanols flooding your system with nitric oxide opens your blood vessels. Now, the July 4th promo already ended, but I got my friends at Black Forest to bring it back to you. 48 hours only. Buy one, get one free, store-wide, plus get a free bottle of NMN. That's 3 bottles for the price of 1. You have to use my link below. This offer is not on their site. And once the 48 hours are up, it's gone. It's cheaper than one physical therapy session. Grab the buy one, get one free, plus the free bottle of NMN. Take care of your health before Monday. Hit the link in the description below or go to blackforestsupplements.com/JP.
I have heard of that company.
Now back to the video. This
Apparently they're pretty good.
is showing you the flock cameras being installed. They are literally everywhere. Now, what the
shit,
propaganda tells you, buy the books, flock safety, what are your cameras for? They call them license plate readers.
Tens of thousands.
All right. Why are you reading people's license plates?
That is
what
true.
they
Why?
say is we're reading people's license plates so we can identify criminals and
Bullshit.
catch criminals better.
No,
Now,
they're not.
if that's all they were doing, that's still very much a privacy violation.
It
But
is.
allegedly, that's not all they're doing. Now, I mentioned dflock.org. You can see their website here. That map that you just saw, that's from DFlock. This is a terrorist organization. All they want to do is cause chaos. Tucker Carlson has picked this up. Here's a quick headline before we see a clip from him. Tucker Carlson warns Flock surveillance network is treating Americans like enemy combatants. That is my perspective as well. Here's Tucker.
Harris
They
County,
are treating
Texas
us
had over
like that.
500 murders in 2025. The aggregate number of murders, the total murders in Harris County, Texas, has risen dramatically over the past 10 years. Even as surveillance has become so intense, there is literally no place to hide. Now, how does that work exactly? How is it that we increase the surveillance past what 1984 describes, and we still have 500 murders in one U.S. county? Hard to know how that happened, but one conclusion we can draw confidently is that the point of the license plate readers and the facial recognition software, which are integrated, probably not to keep you safe. So if you're looking for a shortcut to decode everything that you're hearing,
I think my
about
chat
almost
box
anything,
in my alerts
discount the part where they say
section
it's good
might
for
not
you.
Be working right
Because
now,
that is
so I do
not a
apologize.
relevant component to the formula. Should we
It's
do
been a
this?
minute
Well, let's
since
see.
I've been on
Does
a
it save
kick.
us money? Does it increase profit? Is it good for
So
us?
I will do
Those
my
are the
best
three
to
main
figure that
criteria.
out.
What it does to you and your family, it's kind of not on the list. It's not a variable in that equation.
I'll show you something absurd in just a second. But first, the privacy violations, it's not just you're being observed and therefore your movements and your movement history is being observed and stored, by the way, but that also feeds into the federal government. So in other words, if your local city council is like, okay, the flock safety salesman sold us, this is good for our community. We got a big contract with them, pay them a lot of money. They're going to take away a lot of privacy with their cameras. And I mean, they're going to create a lot of safety with their cameras. The safety is the absurd thing. That's what I'll show you in a second. That appears to be a local level thing. And on paper, it is. However, the research I've done shows the federal government can access that. All they have to do is ask the local government, hey, JP Sears guy, we want his data you've collected on him. And they say yes. And that might not worry you if you absolutely trust your government. And it worries me if you absolutely trust your
I don't know. Why would you, I don't know anyone in their right mind who would absolutely trust either a state or federal government at this point. They're literally collecting data. They're collecting your biometrics. What do they want that for other than to use it against you? That's the only reason they would want that, is to use it against you. So anyone who's like, oh yeah, I trust them, well, you're a fucking idiot. And you're a useful idiot who's going to burn in the gulags when that time comes, which it will. Will it come soon? Probably not. Probably, I don't know. It could be 20 years. It could be 50. It could be 100 years from now. I don't know. But those people who have that mentality, that is where they're going to go. That's what's going to happen to them. And I have no sympathy for them whatsoever. Don't you have any empathy for them, Andrew? No, I don't. And you know what? They should have known better. It's that simple.
Your government. Even if you trusted your government, that is you having your privacy and therefore your rights invaded. Now check this out. Flock Safety loves to tout, well, just how much safety they do. Three-month-old baby safely recovered after abduction in Marshall County. Read a little bit further. According to Maryville police, a vehicle associated with the abduction of the 3-month-old had been detected in their area by a Flock license plate reader. Oh my goodness. They recovered an abducted 3-year-old baby thanks to the Flock safety camera. Yeah, great headline and article. What's the community note say on that? We wish the community didn't have the ability to add notes to our headlines, but here's what the note says. Local community members claim police stated that Flock was not necessary for this case, and it appears Flock may be paying news agencies for favorable coverage.
Okay, so the Flock cameras didn't even help
with what not to do about these mass surveillance cameras that are everywhere.
Oh my god!
Here's
so the Flock cameras.
This guy is a patriot.
I'm guessing they didn't
cutting
help
down Flock safety cameras, and once he got caught, he said, "I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep cutting them down."
So it was the police officer that found.
Seen in court today. A judge says she will issue an arrest warrant for the man accused of vandalizing license plate readers in Rio Rancho, but he says he has no intention to stop his actions.
Good.
You have plans to continue to take down these Flock cameras?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
It's just so matter of fact.
He's just like,
do you have plans to keep cutting down this camera? Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. And he's got a nice American wardrobe on, sort of a Mexican hat. Don't know what that's about. But this man is hilarious. What we should all strive to be as Americans. Let's watch a little more.
They are a clear and present threat to public safety.
Yeah.
44-year-old Javon Martinez is facing.
Shout out Javon Martinez, taking the law into his.
Is that his real name?
Hands.
Do you guys think that's his real name? Let me know in the comments.
On Twitter, username TrueOnX.
It could be.
Posted this video, and this video is an instruction manual on what not to do with Flock cameras, and it's a pretty thorough video.
Okay,
I think you might like it. Check it out.
All right,
leave Flock cameras alone. There's no need to label all the Flock cameras in your area. And don't put plastic bags over them either, because all that does is cost the company time and money. Grow up.
Okay.
I know that you can use a $50 high-powered blue or green laser like this one to permanently blind Flock cameras, but come on, guys. Why? Definitely do not use the camera map on dflock.org to find cameras, approach them from behind on foot with a spray paint extender, and spray them. And if you do that, at least make sure that you have your phone in your pocket so we can identify you using the Bluetooth and 5G. There is no reason to spend $20 on
I didn't know they had that. I didn't know they could connect to your phone.
And then buy a $30 Sawzall with
actually kind of scary
to cut down the entire pole. That's because the cameras and solar panels are clamped with a simple 8mm socket, so you're just doing too much. The cameras have about 12 hours of backup battery, so they will be transmitting Bluetooth and 5G that we can use to track you. So under no circumstances should you put the camera inside of a Faraday bag while the battery runs itself out and then break them down for parts, because that would prevent us from finding you, and nobody wants that. If you do any of these things, it's important that you do not buy a pair of Vader facial recognition blocking glasses, because then it would be impossible for us to identify you and charge you with a class 4 misdemeanor, which is typically just community service or a small fine.
Okay.
And for the love of God, do not attend your city council meetings and demand that they cancel your city's flock contract. We need these cameras. Peter Thiel is a benevolent overlord, and we should all be grateful that he loves us enough to keep us safe. Grow up.
He's a piece of shit overlord. That's what he is.
I just love it. By the way, he mentioned Peter Thiel.
He's a
How does he integrate? Well, apparently these flock safety surveillance cameras, they, operate in, the database storing everything they have on you and everybody else. Operates with Palantir software. They are at it again, ladies and gentlemen. And if you haven't checked it out over at my comedy channel, Awaken with JP, I recently posted this comedic sketch on flock safety cameras and people cutting them down. You can check that out if you would like. Let me know what you think about the phenomenon of patriots cutting down.
Excuse me. What do I think about the phenomena of patriots cutting down flock cameras? I think you guys already know what I think. And I think that if I say too much, I might get in trouble. I think I'll just say I don't like the flock cameras, and I'll leave it at that. You guys are more than willing to do what you want to do. I'm not going to say whether or not I do or don't support you guys, but once again, you guys get the idea. In other words, flock cameras, I don't like them. They're bad. They're unconstitutional. They're collecting your data, and I don't think they should exist. In terms of, once again, what you want to do about them, that's all you. I didn't say do anything. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Have a nice day.